Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today for Equidox AI, which is a fully automated PDF remediation solution. We're very excited about this cutting edge technology that is solving for challenges within the healthcare and healthcare insurance provider industries. By way of introduction today, my name is Paul Campbell, and I will be joined by Dan Toletta for the next 30 minutes. Some quick logistics. If you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat button at the bottom of your screen, and we will get back to you with an answer. Additionally, if this webinar will be recorded and will be sent to you after the meeting, in addition to the slide deck and a short survey. We're happy to do a more direct interactive session with you and your other team members if you're not available to join. And obviously further our conversations as to Equidox AI may be a fit for your organization specifically, after you review here today. As far as the agenda today, first of all, I'm going to go through who is Equidox Software Company, and where have we been and where are we going. Second, the challenges that we've seen in the healthcare market as it relates to remediation of PDF documents and our solution to that problem. Then I'm going to hand it over to Dan, my colleague, to talk about why do we make PDFs accessible, and what's driving this, followed by an overview of Equidox AI, how it works, and finally a demonstration for the last 15 minutes of the half hour we have here today. So who is Equidox? Equidox has been in existence for nearly a decade now, way back when a Canadian citizen was trying to apply for a government job posting on the internet, but unfortunately was unable to do so because of her visual disability. She sued the government and won her case, and the government of Canada sought out a solution to accommodate this use case in the future, but they couldn't find one. And there's no one really addressing it in the market. So they asked the marketplace to respond. Hence why, we started building our remediation solution and haven't stopped innovating since. So originally we created a robust software as a service solution, way back. And now, hundreds of customers currently use our SaaS product. This solution is a world-class solution and is adding tremendous value to the marketplace of digital accessibility for not only enterprise organizations, but mid-level organizations, small businesses, government, and educational institutions as well. Our customers love the product, evidenced by the fact that nearly 100% of our customers renew their subscription every year. And while this is all well and good, we started hearing from organizations that, had tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of pages and documentation that needed to be remediated. And there just wasn't a fully automated solution for that type of daunting need. Our SaaS solution, is still a manual solution that has, some automated functions, but it doesn't truly automate the full process. And nothing out there does with the quality. So the traditional service providers, at that time, were sending the documents to India and other countries, but there's really no efficient way to scale. So companies were forced to settle for a solution that is time consuming, expensive, and doesn't truly mitigate the risk of the lawsuit with some of the software tools and some of the service provider solutions that were out there at the time. So enter Equidox AI, and Equidox AI is a fully automated PDF remediation solution that removes the traditional manual remediation methods and auto tagging methods while still increasing the quality, accuracy, and compliance. The Equidox AI solution is utilized for use cases where there are templated, reoccurring, large volumes of documents where manual remediation methods are just too cumbersome and daunting to address. And, we've found over the past couple of years that the healthcare industry can really get the most value out of Equidox AI. And this is because of Section 508 compliance mandates, the large quantities of templated and reoccurring documents that consistently need to be accessible because of these compliance requirements, and the challenges with current, processes today, the quality and the speed and overall vendor, just sprawl that these customers possess, currently at these organizations. So the use cases, may include, but are not limited to, the biggest one that we've seen is physician directories. These can be, documents that are updated on a reoccurring basis and can be very daunting to remediate and complex. Additionally, explanation of benefits, digital ID cards, invoices, statements, etc. All of these are really great candidates for Equidox AI because of the high volume, repetitive, and templated nature that that they possess. So, we found that there are three main challenges for healthcare organizations when it comes to PDF remediation. Number one is the costs. Multiple vendors we've seen, outsourced providers, and also investment into internal personnel is very costly for PDF remediation. It can really be a runaway train of cost because of the industry standard price per page can be exponential, and the manual work to this capacity and scale is obviously very expensive. With that is the quality, because of the cumbersome manual processes and auto tagging mishaps and issues with quality multiplied by the volumes of pages and scope and complexity. It really leaves these organizations exposed to non-compliance with Section 508, and unfortunately, lawsuits in some of these cases because of these elements. And lastly, the speed. With a lot of the use cases we've seen in healthcare organizations, the demanding legal requirements do require quick turnaround times to get this information out to customers consistently. But it's not really realistic to accommodate with traditional manual processes and the auto tagging methods because of the volumes to manage when coupled with the quality. So we, obviously wanted to create a better way to solve for these challenges, and we did, as mentioned, with our, solution Equidox AI. Our experts have found a way to truly automate the PDF accessibility process for many of these healthcare use cases involving high volumes. Equidox AI automation allows good quality, usability, and compliance every single time because of our unique model creation. We don't auto tag or cut corners or rely on human element to get the process done. Training these models, with our developers, our data scientists, and our accessibility experts to ensure that quality is key to the solution. Our Equidox AI automation also accommodates aggressive timelines because we're relying on the technology. We can dictate how fast the solution runs and turn the dial up or down, so to speak, to accommodate these timelines that may be required. And lastly, Equidox AI automation allows for lower costs, which everybody's looking for, to the bottom line, to efficiently ensure that they're compliant, efficiently make the documents accessible, but while keeping costs down. And we increase the process improvements because of this, and are also able to consolidate vendors because of this automation. So with that introduction, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Dan Toletta, who is going to talk about why it's important to make PDFs accessible and a little background about that. And then, just how our Equidox AI works in more detail in a demonstration. Thank you. Dan?
All right. Thank you, Paul. Hi, everyone. I assume that most people on this call are familiar with accessibility laws such as the ADA or Section 508 or the WCAG guidelines. Since I'm not a lawyer, I'm not going to go into the details and the legalese of these laws, but at a high level, just like there are requirements to provide physical access, like wheelchair ramps or elevators or braille signage, organizations also need to ensure that their public-facing digital content, including their PDF documents, is accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities. Ignoring the accessibility of your digital content opens up your organization to legal risks, and there have been thousands of organizations who learned this the hard way when they were sued for exactly this type of problem. And there are thousands more who quietly pay out large settlements, and yet they still have to circle back and fix their accessibility deficiencies after that payout. Long story short, we live in a very digital world, and we rely so heavily on digital information. So digital accessibility is not a fad, and it's not going away. So it is always good to be aware of it and address it in a proactive way. For anyone who is unsure of why this digital accessibility stuff matters, people with disabilities use various types of assistive technologies to interact with digital content like PDF documents. A very common type of assistive technology is called a screen reader, which is capable of reading digital content like websites, applications, and documents. Screen readers use what are called digital tags to navigate documents. The tags need to be properly encoded into a document to organize the content and make it compatible with the screen reader. Think of the tags as a framework of the document, which gives the screen reader user the ability to navigate and interact with all of the various elements within that PDF. Equidox, in cooperation with the National Federation of the Blind, surveyed about 250 blind and low vision individuals who rely on screen readers to interact with PDFs every day. Based on this survey, we found that at least two-thirds of PDF documents are inaccessible to people with disabilities. So, if you just take a moment to put yourself in the shoes of a blind person, you can quickly imagine how frustrated you would become if you could not read two-thirds of the documents that you came into contact with on a daily basis. On top of that, imagine the privacy issues if you have to go and ask your neighbor or a friend to help you read private documents like a banking or investment statement, an invoice, a pay stub, or health insurance policy documents or medical test results. It could be embarrassing, and it's just a breach of privacy that no one should have to live through. So to further emphasize the points I was making a couple of slides ago, here's some additional information about the volumes and the types of lawsuits that organizations have faced and will continue to face moving forward. And just to reiterate, the digital accessibility requirements that organizations must adhere to, they are not going away, and there will continue to be an increase in the attention that is paid to it by state and federal mandates. The DOJ, disability advocacy groups, and individuals who simply want to be able to access their critical information are going to continuously put more and more pressure on organizations to adhere to these accessibility standards. One of the main challenges with PDF accessibility is that each PDF document is unique. We have heard a lot of empty promises of fully automating PDF accessibility, but there are so many things about PDFs that require human interpretation to decide how to tag specific elements within the content. I have been working in the PDF accessibility market for over 7 years now, and I've seen a lot of organizations who come to us, but they assume that they have accessible documents because their documents have some tags. But they quickly learn that these tags are not necessarily usable or compliant, and they are still open to litigation. So please be aware of this concept of auto tagging. Auto tagging technology is really just masked as a solution to fully automate PDF accessibility. But these auto taggers are capable of putting tags on a page, but there's always going to be accuracy issues with them. And the inaccuracy of those tags can lead to a ton of confusion and frustration for a screen reader user. Additionally, auto taggers can and will leave organizations open to further litigation because there is no guarantee of compliance with WCAG standards. So even paying to outsource your huge batches of documents to companies who auto tag them, you are not mitigating your risk of litigation because auto tagging simply falls short of true compliance with accessibility standards. Oh, excuse me, I hit the wrong button. The alternative of outsourcing the remediation work to third parties who are almost exclusively located overseas. This also introduces a mountain of data privacy issues. And even if you can work around that, the sheer volume is impossible to keep up with. These outsourced remediation providers will cut corners and do the absolute bare minimum amount of work to make the document pass an automated checker, but they are not actually making the documents compliant because it simply takes too long to meet the deadlines when you're dealing with that type of volume. Incorporating artificial intelligence, more specifically computer vision and machine learning, into high volume PDF remediation, allows our Equidox accessibility experts to train an AI model to accurately identify and tag all of the elements in the document template. And the use of AI developed by our data scientists paired with that human element of our trained accessibility experts allows for incredibly accurate, usable, and compliant PDFs to be returned to the customer in a fraction of the time. Because AI works exponentially faster than humans manually tagging each page. AI doesn't need to take vacations. It can work 24/7, 365 without breaks. And also, AI doesn't need to cut corners to meet a deadline. And of course, we're going well beyond just a simple auto tagging process. So, how does any of this work? Well, our accessibility experts, they use example documents of customer templates to properly identify the various elements on the page. These elements might include text or paragraph structure, various levels of headings, lists and tables, graphs and images, and the reading order of the content, which is very, very important. This training data is then fed to an AI model to apply what it has learned in mass to many thousands or millions of pages that have similar templates and formatting. Although the mechanics of how this AI technology works is a little bit abstract and much more complicated than what I'm capable of showing you on a simple PowerPoint slide, here are just a few high level examples of how we can visualize the AI at work. In this scatter plot, each of the green dots represents a page in a PDF document. If you can see, they are grouped together based on similarities that the computer vision finds. So, for example, this cluster will contain all of the pages containing pie charts. In this example, you can see there are different multi-column text layouts that the AI will also use to recognize different pages and group them together appropriately. The AI will also pick up on font styles, sizes, and colors to help it establish the accurate tags on a page. We can even train the AI to identify the many potential variations in tables, which are extremely complicated to tag accurately. So, the different numbers of rows and columns, table headers versus table data, and even tables of varying sizes that might span across multiple pages. All of this can be handled through the AI. The result of all of this extensive document analysis and training of the model and feeding the data to the AI is creating a fully compliant PDF document without any human remediators who are both expensive to employ or outsource to. And they are also, of course, liable to make errors or be forced to cut corners just to be able to meet an unattainable deadline due to the volume demands. We are also reaching full compliance because this is not auto taggers throwing sloppy tags on a page and saying, quote unquote, good enough. And then, of course, beyond compliance and passing automated checkers, the bonus of using AI for high volume, hyper fast remediation is that it will produce incredibly accurate and very usable documents for people with disabilities. So, your customers who rely on assistive technology will not be filing complaints or lawsuits or calling your headquarters to complain about documents that they can't navigate or understand. So we're just about ready to jump into a demonstration of this AI technology. But before we do, I just want to make it clear that this underlying technology can be deployed in several ways to align with your organization's requirements. We have built an interface, which you will see during the demonstration, that could allow, theoretically, your employees to run this process from start to finish with just a few clicks by uploading the document or documents, running the batch, and then downloading the finished PDF or multiple PDFs. We can also embed the AI models into an existing document creation and delivery system through the use of APIs. This could be critical for customers needing to download private documents like a monthly statement or an explanation of benefits or medical test results or something along those lines. Lastly, Equidox can operate the entire process on your behalf as a managed service. So we can take care of the remediation, as well as the validation of that remediation to ensure that everything exceeds all accessibility requirements, and then also deliver that fully compliant PDF back to your organization to be posted and distributed. Just one more thing to note. Equidox AI is tagging the PDFs at the post-processing stage, which you will see during the demonstration. And what I mean by that is that these PDFs are already created, and we are applying the accessibility as a final step before they are publicly distributed. The advantage of tagging PDFs at the post-processing stage is that we do not have to disrupt or completely rebuild your document creation process. Your designers and producers of mass documentation can continue their process, and we will handle the accessibility component at the very end of the creation stage, but right before that document reaches your customer. So, with that said, I'm going to hop out of the slide deck here for a few minutes, and we're going to switch over to the Equidox batch interface, and we're going to do a little demonstration of how this technology works. So as I said, we do have this small interface built for demonstration purposes, but in theory, this type of technology could be deployed to your to users within your own organization that would be able to use an interface like this, perhaps slightly customized for you, to manage this workflow internally. Also, we can of course do this as a managed service for you. Now, what I'm going to do to get started is I'm going to go to the Upload Documents tab. So that will take me to this view here. I can then open up the folders on my hard drive, and I'm going to just grab this document that we want to run through the process today. So when I drag and drop that document into this rectangle, a blue upload button will appear. And I'm just going to give this document a few seconds to upload. And when it uploads, it'll then be ready. It's going to be in the system, ready to go for the batch process. My next step is I'm going to go to the Create and Run Batch tab. And from this view, we have this drop-down menu where I can select a model that I want to apply for this batch. So I'm going to select this model right here. And I'm going to take, once I select that model, there's another set of options that appears. And this is the document that I just uploaded. So I'm going to select this document, and I'm simply going to hit Run Batch. Now, when I hit Run Batch, it's going to now populate in this list, and we see some different dots here to kind of indicate which stage it is in during the process. We have some other details about the document right up here, so all of this is relatively self-explanatory, but just showing us like how many pages, how many documents, how much time it's taking, so on and so forth. Down here, the different stages of the remediation. Right now, Equidox is analyzing the document and applying the ML zones. So the computer vision and machine learning are working in the background to analyze all of these various pages and accurately tag the content. Once it finishes getting tagged, it will then go to the export engine. So we're basically going to rebuild the PDF and create a exact replica version of that document with all of the tags properly organized and applied to the content. And once it finishes exporting, I'll be able to download that completed file, and that document will be fully tagged, fully compliant, fully usable for screen reader users. Now, while that is running, I'm going to open up the document that we just uploaded, just so we can take a look at it. If I look at this document in just my default PDF viewer here, Adobe Acrobat, this document is completely untagged. So there's no tag structure at all. If we were to run accessibility checkers across this document, we would get virtually everything would light up as an error because there are no tags for an accessibility checker to check for. So it assumes that everything is wrong because it is wrong. You cannot have an untagged document. This is completely unusable to a screen reader user. If we just take a quick look at some of the content in this document is a 100-page excerpt of a much larger document, but it is a physician's directory. So this would be for like a healthcare insurance type of company that is going to provide a PDF document with all of the hospitals and doctors and physicians and physical therapists and dentists and all of everyone that's in their network that you can use as part of your healthcare coverage. These healthcare providers, they must provide this in a PDF format. It's the law. But the challenge is that these documents are constantly being updated. They are oftentimes being updated every single month. They are typically upwards of 1,000 to 5,000 pages long. And then also another challenge is many providers are in markets where they have to provide this document in multiple languages. So not just English, but also Spanish or Mandarin Chinese or Vietnamese. Many complicated pages and or for someone to go through and tag. The volume and the recurring nature of these documents makes it impossible for any team of humans to be able to keep up with the volume demand and the constant flow of these documents as they get updated monthly. And also, these documents are just far too complicated to just apply auto tagging to. There is a very specific heading structure. There is a very specific reading order to these types of documents. And there are a lot of different slight differences and variances across these pages, which make it impossible to rely on auto tagging technology to be able to do this in an accurate way. So when we go back to the batch interface and we see that the process has completed, we'll open up that new document, and what we'll see is a dramatic change where the document will visually look the same, but all of this content will be tagged, and it'll be tagged in an accurate way. So if I go back to the batch interface, this document is done running. So while I was talking there, it finished up. And if I just hit the completed file download button here, I'll download this one, and I'll put it on my desktop. And we can also open it in our app. So here's the new version of the document. And if I go to my tab here for the accessibility tags, you can see the big difference. So all of this content now is tagged. And if you start to tab through it, you'll see that we have the heading level 1, which is critical, but then we get into the heading level 2, heading level 3, heading level 4, and heading level 5. Then the subsequent information about that specific area of Iowa, and then you tab through. You can see that all of the content is grouped together appropriately. It is all going to be read in the way that it should be read. So as we tab through, all of this content is respected. This is critical for the usability of this document. And I could, of course, tab through, all 100 pages of this, but what you'll see is more of the same: accurate, consistent tag structure being applied to many pages without a single human being having to be involved with the process. So this would allow this particular healthcare company to manage literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pages of documents just like this throughout the course of the year without having to outsource it or rely on auto tagging technology. So like I said, this technology can be deployed in a number of ways. It can be inserted into your document creation process. We can run it for you as a managed service, or potentially you could deploy an application like this using this type of interface to manage the service yourself. So just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to jump back to the slide deck here just to wrap things up because we're just about out of time. And as Paul said, this is being recorded, and so we will insert all of the information about that demo. And as mentioned earlier, the slide deck will be shared with you as well. So here are some links if you'd like to learn a little bit more about digital accessibility and how it relates to your PDF documents. And in conclusion, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here today. We hope that you can see the value and the capabilities of this new technology. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us for more of a one-on-one type of consultation so that we can discuss your organization's unique use case and how Equidox AI can be applied to them. And also, we will be sending, like we said before, a recording. So feel free to share this with anyone in your organization who you think might benefit from it. And we'll include a link to the deck. And if anyone asks a question using the Q&A feature, we will get back to you with a response as soon as possible. Lastly, there's going to be a short survey sent out. So if you don't mind just taking a moment to fill that out, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you again for everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your day. For more information about how Equidox Software Company can help you with PDF accessibility, email us at equidoxsales@equidox.co or give us a call at 216-529-3030 or visit our website at www.equidox.co.